Shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh,
thegospelofyahawashi.
Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Akim. What we're going to do, we're going to dive into a little lesson about Passover. So we'll start off here at Exodus 12.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. If the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a lamb of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
All right, so we're looking at a time period here. Now, a lot of groups have already partaken of their Passover, and so we're getting ready to do our Passover next week. So why is it that everybody is on a different schedule? So some people will just count new moons, and they'll just keep counting the new moons. But when you read the scriptures, he was speaking of the first month of the year being this time of the year, the beginning of spring. So I'm gonna read this for you in Exodus 9 and 31. And it says, I start at 30. And it says, But as for thee and thy servants, I know that ye will not yet fear the Lord God. And the flax and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in ear, and the flax was boiled. So this was when the plague hit of the hail, and it destroyed the barley, but it didn't destroy the wheat. So when you look at that barley, the barley is in full ear, or what they would call fully grown, in the springtime. So in the springtime is when you start to see growth. Now, if you look here in Houston, you see the greenery is already here. And if you go back into the ancient world, you would see that everybody would converge from every place around the earth and converge to Israel to partake of the Passover, because they had to come to the land of Israel to partake of that Passover. So when you look at the weather conditions we have here from the equator, Houston is about what 20, maybe 29 degrees north of the equator, and Israel is 31 degrees north of the equator. So the conditions are pretty much the same. If it's green over here, it's pretty much going to be green in Israel as well. But when you look at what other Israelite groups are doing, when they partake of that Passover, it's death. I mean, the trees are not growing or anything. So according to the scriptures, when we look at this example of what was happening during the Passover, or during the time of the Passover, that barley was destroyed because it was springtime. So you have to abide according to the commandment and partake of that Passover when you have that springtime coming, and not in the wintertime like a majority of our people do. So that's why you will have differences. Some will just go according to new moons, and some, like we're trying to do to the best of our ability, go according to how Yahweh has portrayed it inside the scriptures. Because our people wasn't traveling during that time in the wintertime. I can guarantee you that.
And we ain't saying like other people going off by doing a Passover at different times. We just explaining why each camps or individuals got different days on doing their Passover. Because we know we just rehearsing the righteous acts right now.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Judges chapter 5 and verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of its villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates.
That's right, man.
So that right there, that would be kind of like what we're talking about why you would see differences in times of people partaking of their Passover.
Yeah.
So you'll see certain people doing it, you know, earlier. You'll see some doing it at this time. But like the brother just read out in this scripture right here, we're rehearsing these things in preparation for the Lord to come.
That's right.
Now when the Lord comes, we're going to have it on point.
Yep.
You know? But we wouldn't be casting any kind of judgment on a person or a group or anything for partaking of that Passover. For partaking of that Passover at a different time. But you don't want to get ridiculous with it. You don't want to have a Passover in December.
That's right.
In November, you don't want to get
January.
ridiculous. January, nothing like
January
that.
1st.
right.
Yeah, one of the
go ahead. You got it.
yeah, one of the issues is like on a principle level, a group can be wrong. Like IUIC, they basically their first day of the month is according to the full moon.
Right.
Yeah.
Which that's the reason why they just had theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So theirs is like 2 weeks after some other groups. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. But so for them, you know, that's a whole different thing because they're not just rehearsing, but they have a wrong doctrine in terms of time.
Right.
According to how it is in the scriptures, like when the new moon will come in. So they don't believe the new moon is a new moon, like most people have historically documented, but they believe that the new moon is the full moon. And that goes back really to them trying to idolatrize the new moon. Because when they created that doctrine, they started making new moon cakes.
Hey, I saw that, bro.
The new moon cakes.
Yep.
On it.
Yep.
So every new moon, they would have like a new moon cake and be like, hey, celebrate the new moon. So it's basically going back to moon worship.
Yep.
Or acknowledging of a celestial body.
Yeah.
Which the Most High didn't want us to do.
Yeah. And see, one of the things that when you start to look at it, the Most High's calendar, can you pull up Josephus Antiquities of the Jews? One thing you can is Antiquities of the Jews, book 1, chapter 3, and verse 9. So when you start to look at the ancients, what they would do, they lived a long period of time. And so with that long period of time, they had the ability to observe the celestial cycles. So not only does springtime come according to how we're looking at the growth, but the ancients would understand that spring was coming according to the cycles of the stars. So they had that understanding of how the stars operated and what times or what seasons was on their way in and what seasons were on their way out. So now we've lost that knowledge, but it doesn't mean that we can't regain that knowledge again, because it's a matter of studying it and understanding these things. So, again?
Chapter 1 what?
Book 1,
Yeah.
chapter 3, and verse 9. Yeah, so when you're looking at that, our ancient forefathers, they had the stars to look at to determine when to plant crops and things of that nature. So like, say for instance, for the Passover, when you plant for the Passover for that barley, you would plant it in the wintertime and it would grow in the spring. That's for the barley harvest. Now for the wheat harvest, which would coincide with Pentecost, it would be planted in the fall, and then it would grow in the summertime. So all of these things are pertaining to harvest times when we're looking at it. But I want to bring out what the brother read this Antiquities of the Jews, book 1, chapter 3, and verse 9, and to get you an understanding of how our ancient forefathers were able to do this.
This is book 1, chapter 3, verse 9. Now when Noah had lived 350 years after the flood, and that all that time happily he died, having lived the number of 950 years. But let no one, upon comparing the lives of the ancients with our lives, and with the few years which we now live, think that what we have said of them is false, or make the shortness of our lives and present as argue, neither they attain to so long a duration of life, for those ancients were beloved of God and lately made of God himself, and became their food. And because their food was then fitter for the prolongation of life, might well live so great a number of years, and besides God afforded them a longer time of life on account of their virtue and the good use they made of it in astronomical and geometrical discoveries, which would not have afforded the time of forfeiting the periods of the stars, unless they had lived 600 years.
So there we go right there. So they wouldn't have known or understood the cycles of the stars unless they lived that long period of time. They mastered the stars in time, and then they passed that on to generations. So they would know that in the middle of winter, you would have Orion's belt at north. And then when the springtime would come in, you would have their, what they term in this society, they call it, in this society, when the springtime would come, they would call it the constellation of Boots. But in the Bible, they call it the constellation of Arcturus. So they would understand these things when they would see all these different cycles. And so our ancient forefathers understood this thing. And so that gave them knowledge. So the stars were basically speaking to them without even saying a word to them.
Yeah.
So they understood these things. Get that Psalms 19, 1 through 4. So they understood these things, and so if they were let's say for instance, they were one of these guys developed some kind of blindness or whatever, and he couldn't see the stars or whatever, and a long period of time comes, if he was to regain his sight back and he could look up into the stars, he would know what type of season was coming and what was going. So they had that knowledge. So we'll read this Psalms 19.
This is Psalm chapter 19 and verse 4. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where the voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun.
Look at that, man. So day unto day uttereth speech, night unto night. It's talking about the glory of, it was talking about the heavens.
Yep.
They glorified now.
They're showing you something.
They're
speaking to you.
They speaking to you.
Giving you knowledge.
Giving you knowledge, but not saying a word.
Correct.
It's not saying the word. Now,
so it's not the internet, all right?
it's not there.
Hey, I thought it was the internet, bro.
Hey, it was the horns, man. It was the horns of the internet, bro. Hey, man,
The
look.
horn of the unicorn.
Let's call private interpretation.
Even with its thousands.
Bro, let's call private interpretation right there.
Big time private interpretation.
Man, we had some individuals talking about that was the internet horn right there, man.
Just like when Yahushua was born, the three wise men saw signs in the air, knowing that it was he had came.
Bro, now, and that's good the brother brought that up, because those were signs in there. There wasn't a UFO, bro.
Yeah.
There wasn't a UFO, because, so you mean to tell me that
There was something that was an event that was only going to occur.
Yeah.
That the knowledge that was passed down
Come
to
on,
those men knew that there was going to be a particular sign in this sky to know when the Messiah showed up.
Bro, that right there is what that's talking about,
Correct.
man. That's not a UFO, bro, because we were taught that the day after day, night to night is speech was...
That's us talking to each other on the internet.
Bro,
That's the YouTube.
that's the YouTube. You can get on YouTube a day or night. Oh, man, that's wrong. That's false, bro. Hey, man, it's talking about the knowledge that the stars can bring to people, man. That's what that's talking about.
Correct.
And so when you start to look at these things, and you start to understand the glory that the Most High has already presented before us, and we just lost that knowledge, man.
Yeah, because at certain times of the year, like you can't see certain stars unless it's winter.
Come on, yep.
In the springtime, summertime, you can't see them.
Yeah.
But you know, oh damn, it's winter when you look in the sky. Even if it's warm outside at night,
Right.
you're still gonna be like sometimes in Houston,
Yeah.
in the middle of November, it might be 70 degrees.
Yeah.
But when you look up in the air, you're gonna see certain constellations that you wouldn't see in full summertime.
Come on, bro.
So that means if you woke up out of a coma
Yeah.
and you saw that and you knew that knowledge, you would know It's around this time of the year.
Come on, man. Come on, bro. And that's one of the things, man, you know, that we have to get back to. You know, just understanding how the Most High cycles work.
Correct.
We're talking about cycles here. Everybody knows when the sun is going down that it's about to be dark. They understand that when the sun's coming up, it's about to be daytime. But we don't understand the cycles of the stars. That's the cycle of the moon, the sun. These are all cycles, and it's also cycles of the stars too. Like, you know, one of the brothers, Shema Shawan, started kind of putting this into my mind. I never really got into this aspect of it, but as I got into it, it started getting real interesting to me, the way what you can see in the stars and determine what time frame you're in. See, now Esau will take it and turn it into some kind of he'll turn it into some kind of you know, what they call it, fable. It's like, oh, you see the groundhog, see his shadow, it's gonna be 6 more weeks of winter. That's BS, man.
Exactly.
Esau already know that it's gonna be 6 more weeks of winter because he understands how this stuff works up in here. He's just messing with people.
Esau's the chief astrologer and stargazer on the planet.
Come on, bro.
This dude got whole observatories and stuff, man. The freaking telescopes.
Yeah.
If you go to like NASA's website, they can even show you when the next like blood moon will
Yeah, bro.
in the next 2-3 years.
They got
it
stuff
all tracked out. Now this is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the night from the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so.
Come on.
So the lights in the firmament, which what you can see through the atmosphere.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that the stars are sitting inside on a snow globe inside here. Don't mean that, man. Okay?
Yeah.
It means that when you look at the firmament, meaning the atmosphere, the light, when you look towards it, you're going to see different signs and lights.
Yep.
You're going to see the moon. You're going to see the faces of the moon. You're going to see the sun. The sun can go through a solar eclipse.
Yeah.
Right? You have a lunar eclipse.
Yep.
You have blood moons.
Right.
You have also different constellations. Certain times of the year, you can see the Venus.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why the whole crescent moon thing is, because the crescent moon is really them showing the crescent moon, and then they had that other star, which is actually supposed to be Venus, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they were worshiping out there when they were worshiping Allah. Mm-hmm. The god over in Mesopotamia, one of the Mesopotamian gods, which we still worship today. Yep. That's the reason why if you're a Muslim, you got the crescent with the star. Mm-hmm. That's an old symbol that goes back to the ancient world. That's
right, man. And see, that's one of the things. Like when we talking about these Passovers and these seasons that come in, you know, our ancient forefathers were knowledgeable on this stuff, bro. They understood this thing. Now check this out. This is Job 38, and I'm gonna start at 30. It says, "The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades?" Now the Pleiades is known as the 7 sisters when you start to get into this astronomy. And it says, "Or loose the bands of Orion." Like I was saying, in February, March, you'll see Orion at the top, at its highest peak north. And then it says, "Canst thou bring forth the Mazzaroth?" Now the Mazzaroth is a Hebrew word for constellations. Because see, you bring in these certain constellations come in, and then our ancient forefathers could determine what season it is. So the Most High is talking to Job about these things, but it's a lesson in this. He says, "Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season, or can thou guide Arcturus with his sons?" So, and Arcturus, of course, is talking about the what we would term the Big Dipper, and some people call it the Big Bear.
Yeah. So this stuff was talked about in the scriptures.
Yeah.
In fact, that word for Orion. Let's look it up real quick. What verse?
That's 31. 30, Job 38. Yeah, 31. Yeah.
Let me get that real quick. Because people be thinking that Orion was just something made by like by the ancient Greeks. They're the ones that a lot of these things is named. They named their gods after these different planets, right. Venus and Mercury and all that.
Yeah.
And Mars. You know. Now the word Orion is Quasayal, which is a constellation, Orion, the constellation. The same name and any notable constellation, specifically Orion.
Yeah.
Which everybody sees. It's like one of the main ones that anybody can see in the world.
Yeah.
So it's like a notable one even among the nations.
Yeah, because it's like it's like 7 stars, and then you got 3 of them that go right in the middle. It's right. I look at it, it's amazing because I go outside and I start looking at the stars and I'm like, man, look at this stuff, man.
Yeah.
North, and then as spring started coming, I started seeing
So you get a shift.
it started shifting this way.
Right.
So now at night, it's over here instead of being north like it was in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow,
And,
bro.
and birds and animals, they know when to move based off of the time of the year, man. They know when birds fly south, man.
Yep.
This is
Fly
wisdom.
south, man. We ain't talking about pushing keys, man. You know, it's Yankee, listening to some old school hip hop.
Right.
Bird, man.
Yeah.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 16. For in his hand are both we and our words, all wisdom also, and knowledge of workmanship. For he has given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements. The beginning, ending, and midst of times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of seasons, the circuits of years and the position of stars.
Yep.
And that's King Solomon speaking, man.
Yeah.
So you know King Solomon, when he was blessed with all wisdom, you know he passed that down to other people of our ancestors, you know.
Yep, man.
So they knew knowledge of the stars and the seasons and you know how they can determine, you know, what time of the year it is by the host of heaven, man.
Yeah, that's some amazing stuff to me, man. I look at it now. You know, I took a class in astronomy in college, but you know, I really didn't appreciate it at the time. It was just a class, you know. But now as I get older, and then you start applying it towards the scriptures, it starts to really mean something to you now. And you're like, man, look at that knowledge that our people had. And you know, all it takes is somebody to just jump back into it and start learning the stuff, and you have that knowledge right back again.
Yep.
This is 1 Chronicles chapter 12 and verse 32. And the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 2,000, and all their brethren were at their command.
Look at that, man. So people was coming to Issachar for that information, man.
Yeah, that's why they have the doomsday. They talk about the doomsday, the Mayan calendar, the Aztec calendar, and how they have like the different, how they structured their stuff based off of like the way the sun will be positioning.
Yep.
That's why Esau was studying that stuff.
Yep.
That's why they had that movie 212.
212, yep.
2012.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because they were believing that, well, the end was going to come around in and around that time, which if you look at the transfer of time, and how vast time is, even if Esau miscalculated, thought it was 2012, the end is so near that it's still right there. It's still the deviation of error, according to how long man has been on the earth, is like literally 1% of the time. Less than 1% of all the time that man has walked on earth.
That's true.
So if you're saying that the Messiah is going to come back around 2012 and he comes back in 2025, 2024,
yeah, man.
then they weren't wrong.
They wasn't wrong, bro. They weren't wrong. Because look at how Esau has jacked up with the time anyway. If we're going according to his time right now.
365.
Yeah. So they all that
kind of
stuff. They have thought to change times
And that was the reason why they did that, to throw people off.
Throw people off. So now when you look at the 2012, you say, oh, that was BS. That's all
And
BS.
it's really not even 12 years after Yahushua. Because even the AD, like they even have, when they have AD, it might be off by like sometimes they say it's off by 4 years. They'll say that he was born around 4 BC.
They
You'll
will.
see different sources saying he was born around 4 BC, but technically it's still BC for AD.
Yep.
The year of our Lord, Adam was Adonai, which is the year of our Lord.
Yep. So he should have came in according to that.
We might be at 4 years or X amount of years to however, because a lot of sources say it was really around 4 BCE. Or 4 BC when he was born, which is he's supposed to be born in 0 AD because the time is supposed to be the year that he's born. AD is literally supposed to be the year he was born.
That's right.
Which is when he was born. So, like the brother said, the calendar that you're looking at today might not is not necessarily reflective of the accuracy at the time that the Most High had.
Right.
Because if you really look at it technically, we're should be coming on the 12,000th year.
Yep.
So that means we should be closer. We should be 11,990 whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Years.
Yeah.
Going into 12,000.
Yep. That's right. That's right.
Because the 12,000th year is when the thing is over.
Yep. That's right, bro.
Because Ezra was told.
Well, yeah,
9.5 parts.
9.5 parts.
Yeah,
That's in Wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah,
yep.
9.5 parts, meaning that they were 500 years away from the coming of the Lord.
Yep.
And he says, right now we're 9.5 parts in. The full parts is 12.
Yeah.
And that's why there's another scripture that says, in 2 days.
Yeah. Yep.
In 2 days will he come back. Which is 2,000 years. One day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is 1 day. That's how you know. That's how Esau even knows that he's supposed to come back. See, they probably miscalculated. They probably have a calculation. Say, "Oh, he can come back. This nigga's a stunner."
Yeah.
That's probably what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Because the Most High threw them off.
Because their inward thought is that the house just shall stand forever. So they thinking that this thing is just gonna keep on. The Most High ain't never coming back. That's
He's also throwing off their astrologers and stargazers.
Yeah. Where are my prognosticators?
Is that Isaiah 48?
Yeah, it's in Isaiah.
Is that Isaiah 48?
Where's nobody's? Oh, go ahead, girl. You got that.
Go ahead. I had a precept, but I just lost it right quick.
Yeah, because in that Isaiah, it was up there talking about where are thy astrologers and thy prognosticators? They shall not be able to deliver you from the power of the flame, because that judgment is gonna come. Them boys ain't gonna have nothing against that, man.
Let me just bring this out right quick. What y'all was just talking about, Esau calendar being off.
Yeah.
Because the Most High set some stuff up for, that ain't gonna be off, and it's the reason why.
Right.
This is the letter of Jeremiah in Apocrypha 1:60. For sun, moon, and stars, being bright and sent to do their offices, are obedient. You meaning that the Most High ordered them to be like that, and they ain't no way they gonna be off.
Right.
Because the scripture just said that they are obedient to the orders that they was given, man.
Yeah.
The Most High set them in place to be a perfect thing,
Right.
a perfect guide, actually.
Yeah, man. So this is how how our ancient forefathers. Now today, when we go into, we trying to find when the Passover is coming in, and when the, all these other high holy days, and trying to link them up with the full moon, like the Passover is supposed to come on the full moon and things of that. We have apps. We have apps that's being utilized, but the thing is that certain apps will say different days. So you'll have an app that'll say, oh, the Passover's on this day. Another one will say something totally different. Like we said before, we're rehearsing the righteous acts and doing this to the best of our ability. And so certain people will do it on different days, man. So like I said before, we won't have this thing all together until the Lord comes back. And then we'll all be in one accord. But for right now, we do it to the best of our ability. Make sure you do it. That's the main thing, man.
Yep, that's right.
If you're in a location and you by yourself, make sure you do it by yourself. If you don't have other people to to partake with, you do what you can to be as obedient as you can to the Lord while you living, man. This is the will of the Heavenly Father.
That's right.
You have to do it, so it has to be done.
Isaiah 47 and 48 actually leads into more time scriptures too. About prophecy showing Israel the things that he showed them and hidden from them from the beginning, which is Isaiah 48 and verse 6. Thou hast heard, as Isaiah 48 and verse 6, thou hast heard, see all this, and I will not indeed declare. I have shown thee new things from this time, even hidden things, and thou didst not know them. They are created now and not from the beginning, even before the day when thou heardest them not. Let thou shouldest say, behold, I knew them. So the Most High is letting it be known that he showed us different things that was going to happen in a certain period of time. Like, for example, right, the day of the Lord, it says it shall be great darkness. The moon shall be turned as blood, the light shall see as light. So he already showed you that. So when it happens, you can't be saying, "Oh, I already knew that." No, no, he knew it.
Yeah,
he showed you that. You can't go and try and make it as if you came up with the knowledge. You were directed yourself. Meaning he already showed you what to look out for.
Right.
And that's why he declared it from the beginning.
That's
now, chapter 47, which is before that deals with what we were talking about. This is verse 1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. And then as you go down, it goes into verse 12. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that thou shalt come upon thee. And the brother brought out, that's what you said earlier. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame.
Amen. That's where that judgment comes down, man. They ain't gonna be able to.
So they're gonna realize that something's bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
But the astrologers and stargazers ain't gonna be able to do nothing about it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be saying, hey, we're seeing X, Y, and Z. We look at the observatory, we're seeing new things we ain't seen before. Because they're basing it off a repetition of what they know. But you gotta remember, there's certain events in the celestial in the celestial space that only occur every 3,000 years, or maybe once.
That's why,
or maybe once every 12,000 years.
Come on,
they ain't seen yet.
They ain't seen yet. They can't predict.
That's why the brother, when he came out, when it stated in that book of in Antiquities of the Jews, when it talks about watching the constellations, so they had to live long to be able to know and understand what was happening. Yeah. If they hadn't did that, they wouldn't have been able to document the stuff down for the generations after to know and understand what was about to happen.
And the thing with Yahawashi coming, that was like, whatever they saw was an event that probably hadn't occurred since probably Exodus. Probably.
Come on, bro.
It might have been that long.
Yeah, and see.
It might have been that long before since it had happened, and it was documented somehow.
Now check this out. People say that that's a UFO. These three wise men following this star, and then the other people knew about it.
Yeah.
Because when they went to Herod, they knew about it. Herod was like, oh yeah, where's the child? So that I may come and worship him. They were, Herod was trying to kill Yahawashi. So the thing was, when they got to the area, they went to Jerusalem, but then they was trying to, they was like, hey, where's the child that was supposed to be born? Because they was following the star.
Yeah.
Now, if that was a UFO, why didn't the UFO just take them straight to Yahawashi? Then they come out from Herod, and then they say, oh, the star. And they start following the star, and then they find Yahawashi. Right. But if that was in the sky like that, why wasn't everybody just, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So it's that UFO.
There was a particular star that they were following, like you said, night to night or week to week.
Yep.
That star will shift.
It was a
little by little.
Yep.
If it's cherry.
Next morning you look up, it's a little bit over.
Yeah, it's a little bit over.
So all they got to do is just keep following it, and then at one point it stood
where Yahweh stopped. Yep.
Where he was at. So they probably like, dang, he ain't moving no more. He got to be there.
And then they followed, and he was right there. And then we have groups talking about, oh, it was a UFO that was following.
That was a UFO. It'd have been probably mobs of folks following.
Yeah, everybody would have seen that and be like, man, what is that? What is that? Following, and then here goes Yahawashi.
Yeah, these are wise men that understood the time.
Come on, bro. And these are things that as we always talk about these principles, man. When you go into these principles, your mind starts to open up and unlock to truths and not private interpretations. You start to see things according to the will of the Father. You start to see things according to the will of the Father, and instead of embracing doctrines that come out of the minds of men, that they just pull out they rear end, so to speak.
This is Sirach chapter 43 and verse 1. The pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven, with his glorious show, The sun, when it appeareth, declareth at his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. At noon, it purcheth the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? Yeah, because at noon, the sun is directly above everybody. So if you're not anywhere where it's covered, the sun is going to be on you.
Yep.
It just doesn't matter. Unless you're by some shade, a building, if you're in an area where there's no trees,
right,
at high noon, you can't escape the sun.
Come on, bro.
It's right on top of you.
Especially on the flat earth.
Yeah.
There ain't no way you can go, bro.
You know what's crazy is, why is it that everywhere in the world they experience the sun at noon right above them?
Yeah, right, bro. Come on, bro.
That don't make no sense.
That don't make no sense, bro.
Because that means the sun will have to move up and down diagonal too.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, man, you can't do that on the flat earth, bro. Dude.
I don't know about that.
Oh, man, these dudes up here with this flat earth, man. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I know some of y'all brothers may be offended by that. A lot of stuff happened in 2015 and 16 that a lot of y'all brothers were unaware of. And that's why y'all ended up being introduced to that particular doctrine. And we got people in our family. I got an aunt that's married to a pilot who was a commercial pilot for 40 years, flying planes. The brother and the brothers was the Air Force that flew the big cargo Air Force jets to the freaking frozen tundras of Alaska.
Come on, bro.
And freaking in the North Pole.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that brothers, because hey, we're not a people that travel.
Right.
Only 5% of so-called black people in America got passports.
Yep.
This is facts. A lot of brothers ain't been on the plane. I knew guys that ain't been on the plane and they were like damn near 25, 26.
Yeah.
And they ain't never been on a plane.
Man.
And that's majority of Jakes. Majority of Jakes never been on a plane. In Babylon, and y'all live in the so-called first world country. Or you can jump on a plane. So a lot of times, if you understand like the surface of the earth, like the brother brought out, and you understand the way things are and the way you see these different signs, like the fact that you can only see certain things at certain times of the year. You can only see the North Star.
Yep.
In the north. In the northern hemisphere.
Yep. In the north.
Because if the North Star was on a flat Earth, you couldn't see it. You would have to see that. Everybody would be able to see it.
Come on, bro. Everybody be able to see it.
Everybody would be able to see it.
And check this out. Why is it that?
And that means it's in the northern hemisphere can see it.
Yep.
People in the southern hemisphere can't see it.
Yep.
That's why most of the world, ancient world, was living north anyway.
That's right.
For some reasons due to astrology, to a certain degree. Because some of them, they would want to build communities and they wanted to see, oh, the constellation got to be doing this and that.
Yeah.
That's why it took a long time for people to start really moving down to south of like the Arabian Peninsula and North Africa. It took a long time. It took wars and things like that because there was a lot of religious things surrounded by what they were seeing and what they knew to guide the times of their religion or their lives, and their different wizards and people like that.
Yeah, you got to one thing you really start to appreciate when you get older and you start to dive into things about the planet, like geography and things of that nature, understanding the surface of the stars, the suns and moons and stuff like that. Like in the northern hemisphere, we have a springtime in April. In the southern hemisphere, it comes in around September.
Yep, a lot of us don't know that.
Yeah.
If you go to South Africa right now, you go to, when it hits summer here, when it's hot as hell, you go to South Africa, it's cold as hell and it's snowing.
Yeah.
A lot of brothers don't even know that. A lot of brothers don't even know that if you go to the southern part of the world, like you go to Chile, and Argentina, and all them places, they got opposite weather.
Come on, bro.
The weather not even the same.
And see
but the same sun and moon is out there.
Come on.
Yep.
Hey, man.
The same sun and moon is out there, but you're experiencing high heat. It's 100 degrees in Houston in July, but in July in South Africa, in Johannesburg, it's freezing cold.
Come on, bro.
But people say, oh, that's not real.
Come on, man.
So if like Yahawashi said, if you do not believe earthly things, how do you believe heavenly things?
Nice, bro. Nice.
If you can't believe a brother telling you that if you call somebody right now that's in Japan, and it's a whole different time. If you wake up in the morning and the sun rises up, and you call someone in Japan, it's night.
Right.
When a brother tells you he don't believe that, you can't do nothing.
You can't do nothing with that, bro.
And a lot of people don't even know that because if you ain't never traveled, I had a cousin that played for CSKA Moscow in Russia. He played professional ball in Russia in the wintertime, bro, it's like dark 23 hours out the day. They
Come
get
on.
like 1 hour, 2 hours of sunlight. like, for a
And
whole
you ain't
month.
gotta be that far off. Just like a couple weeks ago, one of my partners, he was in I seen him put a post and he was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I called him, I'm in the truck. It was probably about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And he answered the phone. Hello. I say, man, you sleep? He said, yeah, man, we out here, me and the wife, we in Hawaii. And it's dark over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's early in the morning. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning I called him. I ain't even know.
Yeah,
Come on,
see?
man.
But
See, man?
you know, that's just where you at, man, in the position.
Yep.
That's like when Yahawashi made that statement when he was talking to his disciples during the time of the Passover. He says, are there not, he said, you can discern the time, you can look at the sky and discern that it is evening.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says also, he talks about it being, are there not 12 hours in a day?
Yeah.
Now when you're looking at the Passover comes around the spring equinox. It's
Yeah.
when the sun is at the equator and it's 12 hours in the day and 12 hours in the night.
Yep.
So when he made the statement, he was 100% correct because they was doing the Passover season.
None of them can explain the phenomenon of why there's more daylight in the summertime.
Right.
And people know it, like you know it even here in Houston, and we're not even far north or far south.
Yep.
As far as the equator is concerned. Man, night be coming in like 8:30
Yeah, bro.
in July.
Come on, man.
You
Yeah.
be out there be like, damn, it's already 8:30. I'm damn near missing the show.
Yeah. Yep.
You be like,
Yep.
damn, man, I'm missing the playoff. You be missing playoff games and stuff.
Yeah.
You be like, the NBA Finals. Oh, damn, I forgot. Because the sun's still out.
Hey, man. Hey, they always talk about like up in Alaska, they have at certain parts they have long days of light.
Yeah. That's why everybody that's when Edomites like going there in the summertime.
Yep.
Because they can hunt all day.
Yeah.
And here's the
All
thing.
day, because nighttime come in, the sun's still out.
And here's the thing.
Quote unquote night to us.
And here's the thing with their food. So people in Alaska, when they start growing that food and they have all that sun time, the fruit gets big as hell, man.
Yeah.
They can just keep growing. Zucchinis be way out here. You know, they putting all these little nutrients in. This jar just gets super big. Constant sunlight hitting that joker, man. So, you're looking at all these different things that happen on our planet that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
If you know not, like the brother said, you know not earthly things, how can you understand those spiritual things?
Yeah, there's a scripture in Sirach that says a man well traveled, right?
Yeah.
Well, the knowledge, like if you're like people that have traveled a little bit more, and the thing about it today, you can virtually travel.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're in a situation now where you can go on the internet and you can literally travel to a place virtually and know about a place. So now, that's why I said knowledge shall increase. We don't have to be ignorant these days, because back in the day, you had to be a man of money and means to travel to different places of the earth to know more things. That's why Paul had a lot of wisdom, because he's been to different places, man. He knows about different peoples. He had a better knowledge and grasping, and that's one of the reasons why. And if you really analyze the situation with Peter, the situation where he had with the brethren that were Hellenized, the Gentiles.
Yeah.
The reason why Peter acted the way he did, because he wasn't fully exposed to them.
Yep.
See, when you grow up like where Paul did, he was exposed to the Gentiles and understood why their condition was the way they was.
Yep.
So he can understand why they were in the condition that they were in, and he can look at them differently than like another brother that grew up in Israel.
That's right.
You just can't look at them the same.
That's true.
It's very true, and it is true even in a lot of different intercultural things. Like someone who's from like China might not be able to relate to a third generation Chinese person that grew up in the Bay Area, who's 3, 4, 5 generations in. There's going to be certain nuances and things that they're going to be like, man,
cultural differences.
They're just so different. They're American. Like they got different names for people that are not really rooted in their cultures.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's harder for them to associate with them because there's language and cultural barriers. There's clothing.
Yep.
Like all that stuff throws people off. Like if someone's wearing particular clothing that is not American, people will be like, whoa, he's a foreigner.
Yep.
But you go to their land and wear what you're wearing, you a foreigner, and once they see you come out the plane.
Right.
Let's do that. Hat on, what's that? Because they're wearing like, what do you call it?
Them doggone
They're wearing them little, what's it called, meat trees and stuff.
Yeah.
They're wearing head wraps. You wearing a baseball cap. They don't wear baseball caps in the Middle East.
They ain't rocking like that. In the Middle East, they ain't.
Speaking of, right? Got something over there. He got like a little beanie. I thought he almost had something else.
What do you got?
He had that
Little beanie. I almost thought it was something else.
But
Hey, cowboy hat.
Yep, another difference, bro.
That's a difference. That's a cultural difference. You go to New York rocking that. They go, hey, when they had the New Jack City Slickers with that boy Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You come up there, man. They're gonna be like, man, if you come up to Manhattan, walking out the subway with that cowboy hat on, they're gonna look at you funny.
Yep.
Down here, they ain't gonna look at you funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I was overseas and I'd come out my crib and I would have socks on. But I put some slides on and go outside real quick. And them jokers looking at me like,
What the hell is this?
what's up with this dude, man? This dude has socks in his own. And you don't wear socks with slippers. What are you doing?
Yeah, and Jakes here in America don't like sandals.
Yeah.
Everywhere else in the world, people wear sandals, but over here, it's culturally almost unacceptable for a Judite to damn near wear sandals barefoot.
Yeah,
Like unless he's walking around the house or something. But if he step out and go to the stove, he gonna 9 times out of 10, he gonna put some socks on.
Yep. Hey man, it's just differences, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of differences, man. But well, we started off with the Passover. Hey, Spirit took us into something else.
Yeah, but it's kind of a little bit of both because when you're observing at a particular time frame something, you're basically keeping track of the times of the world that we're in.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So that's the reason why, what is that? Hold on, let me get that real quick. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and get this one as well.
Yeah, there's some good stuff, man. The vastness of knowledge that these scriptures give, man, it's incredible, bro. It's incredible. All you have to do is just start to apply yourself and start to, meditate on these things, and man, that knowledge will be given right back to us. And then, all the secret things that we're like, oh man, we don't know nothing about that. Man, these things will be revealed to you. You just start applying them and start applying yourself.
This is Colossians chapter 2 and verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, or the new moon, or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come. So these are a shadow of things to come.
Yep.
These are appointed in their seat. You observe them in their time frame.
Yep. And and like we said before, in their time frames, that wouldn't mean that your Passover would be in the middle of winter, man. You observing these things in their proper time frames. Just like our ancient forefathers did. Got him in his little hey, got the spinners on and everything.
I got the label over here.
We're gonna be packing it back home.
Yeah, that battery gonna run out on it. Yeah, man. But and also in pertaining to the Passover, when you go into that Passover, you wouldn't turn it into a Thanksgiving dinner, so to speak.
Right.
You would take the lamb, you would roast the lamb with fire, you would have the unleavened bread, and then you would have the bitter herbs. And and then you have and you can kind of get creative with the stuff, man.
Let's go into the meaning of of the food.
Yeah. So like that lamb, of course, that lamb represents Yahawashi, and the unleavened bread, it represents the affliction that he went through, and then the bitter herbs represent the bitterness of sin. Now this is pertaining unto the New Testament. The lamb is Yahawashi, he's our deliverer. The bitter herbs represents the affliction of his body, and then the unleavened bread represents the affliction of his body, and the bitter herbs represents the bondage of sin. Now in the Old Testament, that lamb represented deliverance. The unleavened bread represented affliction, and the bitter herbs represented the bondage of slavery. So that's in the Old Testament. And so this is what those things represent. So when you eat them, so you have a knowledge and understanding of what it is and what it pertains to.
That's why I say that in 1 Corinthians 11 and 19 about the Lord's Supper, when Paul was getting on them brothers about getting drunk and eating the food, you know, from all the other brothers. Eating up the food. Because they was eating and drinking unworthily. You know, it was all about Yahawashi's the remembrance of Yahawashi's death. And they wasn't doing that in respect to that.
And also when you look at it, Exodus 12, it tells you if the household is too small, the household should share. So that goes back even into the original aspect of the law.
Instead of one small household eating the whole
whole lamb.
Share it.
So you just get the understanding of what it is, because I was overseas, man, and they had this thing at this group, and they called it New World Passover. There was this
New what?
They called it New World Passover. This is when these guys had went back over to Israel. And so they had a meaning behind the New World Passover. Now the meaning behind the New World Passover was this. They left America and went through Liberia and then got over there to the land of Israel, right?
So that they walked the trek.
So
they took a path like they were in a new Exodus or something?
Yeah, that's how it's portrayed. So they walked from that and got into Israel from Egypt or whatever, and got up in there, right? So they called it New World Passover. Now, that's their theme, right? That was their theme. So when I was there, I asked one of the children, because you're supposed to teach your kids about this thing. That's inside of the book of Exodus. If your kids ask you, what mean ye of this service? You tell them, this is the Lord's Passover, when he came over and passed over the house of Israel's house and destroyed the Egyptians.
Correct.
And so now, with this dude that I was asking, I said, so what is the meaning of this New World Passover? Now, us being Israelites, we don't do this stuff. This is just what they was doing. The dude told me, it's just a day we get together and eat watermelons. I said, hey man, hey. I was like, yeah man, this is what this kid, this guy was, he had to be about 17 years, 18 years old, somewhere around there. So I already.
He's looking like it's a watermelon day. Because that's one of the things he just enjoyed doing on that day.
Yeah, bro, he just like, it's just a day. So even in that, they did not teach them their thing, man. So this is why we have to teach our kids this thing. Because, you know, here's one of the things. As parents, when you get to a point where your kids start getting up in age, and you're not going to be there to defend them in the sense of doctrine or addressing certain issues in life, it has to be taught right now. So what I would do with my kids, from time to time, I had these Bible studies, and I'll just randomly ask them a question. So like I hit my daughter, you know, I don't hit them with difficult things. I hit them with things that they should know. So I hit my daughter this past Friday night, the Sabbath. I asked her, I said, I want to ask you a question. If somebody comes to you and says, asks you to celebrate Christmas, what would you say? She told me, she said, I'll tell them I don't celebrate Christmas because it's not according to the will of God. And I said to her, prove it. I said, prove that to me. And she was like, Jeremiah 10, 1 through 5. I say, that's good. I say, that's good because I'm not there. And for you to just come off the dome with that means that you know something about that. So if somebody comes to you with a different doctrine, they won't be able to fool you.
Because you know where the answer, you know what the answer is.
Yeah.
You know, versus you being taught it, you say, I know it's wrong, but I can't prove it myself.
Exactly. And this is
because she knows the answer somewhere, but if somebody can get you off the doubt, make you doubt, then you'd be like, maybe I should celebrate Christmas. And I can't
Something like that. But tell them, prove it to me though. In the Bible, you can reverse it on them.
That's really the best way to do it. That's
Prove
where
it to
they
me.
get stuck.
Show me in the Bible where it's in the Bible.
You finished with that one.
And that's why it's
Tell a Christian to prove anything they stuck.
Yeah, they done.
And that's why it's so important to really understand what these things that we're partaking of mean. Because somebody come up to you and say, why you eating that bread? Why you ain't putting why you ain't got no green beans or gravy on that thing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, you go into the scriptures and you tell them, well, according to this, it says we only eating that lamb roast for $5.
Why you ain't got
Way a lot of Israelites do it, but them boys be having a whole damn.
Why you ain't got no boiled potatoes or no boiled eggs?
Oh, but it had everything up in there. Mashed potatoes, macaroni, just everything up in that joke. Like now, you could do that on like
on the feast day, like the day after.
Like the feast dedication.
Yeah.
You could go all out. We get wings, pizza, all that.
Cause look at this. Cause see,
you know,
on the
going hard. You know what I mean?
On the Passover, you got to look at it like this. He gave you a specific order in what you could eat on that Passover. Now you have a feast of unleavened bread. You got that feast part in the middle, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's just used to staying away from anything leavened. So
and
that means you can still go.
Yep.
You go to Chipotle. You can still go to Chipotle. Go buy you a bowl.
Get your bowl.
Right.
Don't get that. Don't get the tortilla.
Yep.
Don't order no pizza.
So you can go home.
Don't eat no burgers. You can still. The whole point is for you to just stay away from leaven. That's a doctrine thing.
Yep.
You know, the leaven is like the false doctrine.
Yep.
Because one little leaven leavens the whole lump. So that's where that comes into play as well, as far as why the bread was unleavened.
Yep.
To signify the purity of the doctrine.
That's right.
Yep.
And which is one of the things that we battle with in Israel is about doctrinal differences.
Man,
That's the thing. A lot of times people look, why y'all getting along? Doctrine.
It's doctrine. Why didn't Yahawashi get along with the Pharisees? Doctrine. Man.
I mean,
it was doctrine, bro.
I wonder what y'all were saying. Some of y'all were saying to Yahawashi and his apostles, why he wasn't kicking it with the Sanhedrin.
Come on, man.
Y'all be like, oh, they don't want to be with the Sanhedrin. Has any of the elders believed on him?
Right.
That's what y'all do.
Man.
Yeah, who gave y'all authority to baptize?
Man, see.
What made y'all the authority figures on baptism? Bro, y'all doing the same thing as
nobody else was doing it.
Y'all are the same thing.
Hey, but nobody else was doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's jealousy that they didn't start it.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys want to be pioneers.
That's what it is, bro.
That's how they look at it. And we're not even saying we're pioneers because it was already there in the book.
Yeah.
So we can't even say we're pioneers.
Yeah, bro. Hey, this book was written 2,000 years ago, man.
We just continued on. That's all we did.
Continued on. The
Continued on.
The tradition of the church elders.
Right.
Back then. We're Orthodox.
Right.
Orthodox means original.
Yep.
We're Orthodox Christians.
Man, see.
Orthodox believers of Yahawashi.
There you go.
That's what Orthodox means. Mm-hmm. That's another thing to do if you talk to some of these people like, what are you Muslim? So no, I'm an Orthodox Christian. I believe in the actual tenets of the Bible.
Yeah.
Like the same way that Paul and Peter and all of them believe.
That's right.
Like, that's what you tell some of these people. Because sometimes, oh man, I'm Hebrew Israelite. That's nationality. What's your doctrine? What do you believe in? Because Hebrew Israelites believed in all kinds of doctrines 2,000 years ago.
Yep, you had Zealots, you had Pharisees, Sadducees. They didn't all have the same doctrine.
Yeah.
So
you even had like different other sects that broke off from the church.
Yep, you sure did.
Yeah, people that were anti-Paul back then.
Yep.
Like after Paul died and the letters was being used by different churches, you had men that came up that were anti-Paul.
Just like we are today.
And it's chronicled in the same.
Oh yeah.
He had guys that rejected some of the apostles' letters.
Now you got to go into that Eusebius, man. That
Eusebius is too heavy, bro.
That's a heavy book, man. If any of y'all brothers, are willing to read, and you really got to be studious and want to go into that stuff, man.
Josephus.
Eusebio.
Those are really the two ones. If you want a historical references to add on to what you know in the scripture, man, those are freaking phenomenal.
Yeah,
Josephus is so dense. Most stuff that people, most people that go into Josephus don't even go into all of it. It's so dense.
It's too much, bro. Because when I was going through it,
they talk about how Israelites, Armenians is full of Israelites.
Yep.
And that was back during the time of the Romans.
Yeah, bro.
I said, are your brothers in Armenia going to come and fight for the Romans?
you go into Acts 2, it talks about that.
Yeah.
The Medes, the Parthians, and all these different.
Yeah, you had a lot of Israelites that lived over there because those people that were of the former, what do you call it, the former Persian Empire.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah.
They were on friendly terms with Israelites.
Right.
So a lot of Israelites during the time of the Romans and the Greeks, they just went and lived over there because you already had people over there. In fact, when you look at like the Book of Tobit, some of the events happened literally in the area of Tehran, Israel.
Yeah.
Like the city called Raz.
Yeah, we went over. Yeah.
That's actually a suburb of Tehran. And you had Israelites living there back then during the time of Tobit. So that's why they could go over there, and they were in the military of the Parthians.
Yeah.
So that's why the Parthians were allies of a lot of Israelites. That's why the Romans, like it was Bernice, one of the sister of Agrippa, of Herod. The Israelites wanted to go against the Romans because of some atrocities that occurred. And she was telling them, are you sure that you're going to be able to defeat the Romans?
Right.
You're not going to be able to do unless the Parthians, who are friendly with y'all, fight against, help y'all with them. And then your brothers from these other regions come and fight for you. So she basically was kind of, she's actually kind of telling the truth. Like, unless you're not going to defeat the Romans, unless, and this is an Edomite woman saying this.
Come on, bro.
She's like, you're not going to defeat the Romans or have a chance against Romans, and this is Josephus, unless the Parthians come to your aid.
Come on, bro.
Which was a big time rival of the Romans. Which is today, they still are. That's the odd thing about it.
That history
they still are the big time.
Yep.
That's why Esau got major beef with the Persians.
Yep.
Because they've been beefing since the Greek Empire.
That's a long time, bro.
Beef, and people don't even know why they're beefing.
Bro, that's a long time.
Why are these Edomites so obsessed with Iran?
Bro.
They're so obsessed because they could never conquer them during the Roman Empire.
And they got that ingrained thing about it,
They
bro.
pushed them off. Like when the Greeks took over, they eventually built themselves back up, pushed some Edomites out, and created the Parthian Empire. And they still hot about that.
That's a spiritual hatred that's inside of them. It's kind of like, I asked this guy that's at my job, this guy, he's Italian descent, right? And I asked him a question. I say, hey man, what part of Italy you from? He said, from northern Italy. That's where my people come from. And then I said, oh, okay. I said, you ever go down south? He said, no, man, I can't stand those people, man. I can't stand it. I already knew what the south was. I was so, Sicilians down there, it's in Israel, and, a lot of mixtures over there. The dude, I say, so what is it that makes you hate southern Italians? He said, I don't know, man. It's something that's in me. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't know.
Didn't know, but he say it's in me. He say he just gets rageful whenever.
They were taught.
Yeah, that's why a lot of Sicilians moved away from Italy because they had nothing popular for them because the Edomite Italians in the north wasn't really letting them function in Italy because Italy fell under Spanish Empire. That's why, what's his name? Christopher Columbus was actually Italian. But the reason why he was part of the Spanish crown because that was part of the Spanish Empire during that time. Yeah. So a lot of them Sicilians, they were like, man, we just got to get out of here, man. We ain't got nothing popping. These Spaniards then took over the Spanish crown, and then when Spain fell as an empire, they didn't trust the northern Italians, so they said, man, we're just going to go to the U.S. Yeah. And that's why the whole mafia family, all of them, they all from Sicily. Yeah. The whole crime family, all of them Sicilians. Yep. That's why, what's his name in that movie, what is it called?
Who's that?
What's that movie? The movie with that scene where he says, y'all.
Oh, you talking about, it's with Christian Slater.
God, I forgot the name of the movie. It came out in the 90s.
Yeah, because Christian Slater,
He said y'all are Moors.
Yeah, y'all are Moors, he said.
And that's why one of their derogatory names is Guinea.
Yeah, Guinea, yep.
And a Guinea is a West African.
Yeah.
A Guinea, you got the Guinea is like an area, is an area. They have a country called Guinea. Yep. But Guinea is actually considered like a sea of water, area of West Africa. So that's why their nickname that these Edomites is giving them is like, damn Guinea. Yep. West Africa. Yep. Because they knew the roots of them Sicilians, the majority of their roots went back to the same people that were also in West Africa. So they called them Guineas. Hey, that was and see, a lot of them, they won't even tell you that. A lot of these Italians, they don't even know where that nickname came from. Yeah. Because they're embarrassed. If they knew, they would be embarrassed to even let it be out. They just called us that. But bro, the only Guinea is in West Africa.
Right, right.
Oh, well, we're not really black. No. The freaking historians of that time knew who your forefathers were, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody from over there knew who y'all forefathers were.
Bro.
That's why they treated y'all like that.
That movie there, man, that the brother's talking
I
about.
forgot what it's called. I have the name of it in my head, too.
True Romance.
True Romance, that's it.
True Romance. That's a good movie. If y'all brothers want to watch a good movie, True Romance is a good movie, man. But them putting that history in there, that was amazing.
Yeah.
When they allowed that dude to go in there and put that in there, bro, I was like, whoa, bro, that's some good stuff.
And
Right
really, at the end of the day, if you're Sicilian, those are your forefathers that conquered the island anyway. So why is it? What I mean by that is like, that's like, okay, my forefathers conquered the islands back in the Middle Ages and took the woman captive and had me.
Yeah.
And my descendants. So I have a bloodline of conquerors and wise men that were warriors. That basically changed the landscape of a lot of stuff in Europe is because of what the Moors brought. Like even the map, the whole algebra comes from Islam and Arabic. In fact, numbers are Arabic script. The numbers, your numbers that you write, because remember, Latin was written in Roman numerals. The reason why you write numbers now the way they are is because of the Moors. Brought that to Europe. That's the reason why you write the 1 a certain way and the 2 a certain way.
That's right.
A lot of people don't know that. The whole alchemy, algebra is literally an Arabic word.
Bro, that's some heavy stuff.
The word math is a Hebrew word, amah. Which is also the same thing in Arabic, which means truth. Because math, numbers don't lie. That's the same, numbers don't lie. So everything that you're using, a lot of that stuff came from those men, which when you look at it historically, me and the brother was researching and talked about it, the Moors was a mixture of Hebrew, Canaanites, and some Arabs. And it's chronicled when you look at the old paintings, you'll see some of them look like Arabs, and some of them look like so-called black men.
Because you'll see like when you're looking at those Moors in the beginning, you would see them prior to conquering Israelites. Just smooth faces. Smooth faces. But when they went in and they started conquering Jake, you started to see the manifestation of more beards.
Because Canaanites don't like beards. This is like something you could chronicle in their old, what do you call it? Like if you look at their old artifacts, they didn't like to wear beards. They didn't like to wear beards. That's why even when you look at the Stonehenge, the Stoneheads over there in Mexico. That's really like, those are Canaanite heads, and they were booty face. They were booty face. But if you look at like the people that were on the boat carrying like, man, there's some crazy artifacts. I probably got to get into some more icon lists. I got a whole bunch of crazy images and stuff to go into. But if you look at that historically, you'll see Israelites with beards. And then the Canaanites, they look almost the same, but they don't have no beards.
They don't have those beards.
And you know what's crazy is National Geographic in the 70s had a what's it called, dealing with the ancient Phoenicians. And on the front cover they had a painting, depiction of an arch of the Phoenicians. And this is on National Geographic. And the pictures was black men wearing purple.
Come on, bro.
So they knew that the Canaanites were so-called black. And they knew that. They had it on the front cover. This is on the front cover.
Hey man, all of Esau's stuff is just coming out.
They're stealing everything, bro. They don't really got a culture. The Most High gave them nothing to do. He said because he removed them from the lineage of Abraham. He estranged them. So they had to start afresh. They couldn't take anything that came from Abraham and Isaac. They had to start over. So the only thing they could do was just borrow from other people.
And that's what they've done.
And that's what they did. And they masterfully did.
Oh, we like this part of you. We're gonna become you. We like this part of you. We're gonna become you too.
Boy's a master of disguise, man. That's him. He's a master of disguise, man. He's a prince of Persia. He's the last samurai. Egypt gods and kings. You know what I'm saying? It's like, God dang it, everybody.
Dude, everybody. All history is Edomite history. That's what it basically comes down to. Man, I'm telling you.
And that's why it's good to know these things, because all this stuff ties together, man. Because all the stuff that you're seeing, the Passover in of itself is like is an integral part of like understanding our salvation.
Yeah.
Because they're believing in deliverance while in captivity.
That's right. That's right, man. And that belief is gonna carry you a long way. It's gonna carry you a long way. Belief in this truth. Definitely needed. Yeah.
This is Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Yahushua was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head, as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. And for ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she had poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial.
And with that,
verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this woman had done be told for memorial of her.
And with that, we'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Peace and blessings to the whole land. Shalom.
Shalom.